Hello and welcome to another tutorial around Docker. Today's topic will be Docker networking options. This will be mostly a whiteboard discussion where I will try to explain all the important networking options that you have with Docker. In my experience, I've seen that most of the time, maybe more than 80% of the cases, people are just using port forwarding. This is not a bad options. This is not a bad option or anything, but there are many other choices that you can have with Docker networking, and I want to show you why we choose one over the other and how these options are really working. So let me get to the whiteboard here, and let's start with a quick recap of the network types that you have in Docker, the ones that you've already seen in the official documentation, and I'm talking about the bridge, bridge. These are actually network drivers available with Docker. So we have the bridge, we have the MAC VLAN, and of course we have the IP VLAN. And there are other two options that are almost never used, and these are host and none, like in no networking for those containers. I will focus mostly on the first three types of networks, and let's start with bridge and do some drawing here. Let's say we have a bridge here, a multi-port bridge, a switch. All right, and I have here connected my container apps. I have app 1, app 2, and app 3. All right, and I also have let's put an IP class on this segment. Let's say I'm using 10.0.0.0/24. And on this other side of the bridge, I have a special layer 3 interface, which by default, with the default Docker network, is called Docker 0. And this is actually the bridge object on my Docker host, which is also a layer 3 interface, and it's functioning as a default gateway for all these apps. So let's say that these have the .1 IP from this class, from 10.0.0.0/24, and this Docker 0 interface is part of a routing process of the host. It's basically part of the TCP/IP stack running on the Docker host, which can also do routing, of course. Let's represent with another color the boundaries of my Docker host. So let's go here and say everything that is in this purple square is part of my Docker host, my physical Docker host. And on this other end of my router, I have a normal ETH0, let's say, interface, which is connected to a physical network segment on my physical network. So here on this physical network, I have another IP class. Let's say here I have 10.1.0.0/24. All right, and here I have the IP .10. All right, and let's see now what are the options. My goal now is to forward or to get my traffic from this physical network to my container apps, and I have multiple options here. First one, the one that you know very well already, is the NATing, so or port forwarding. So I can do NAT, I can do routing, and I can also do bridging, which may sound a bit bridging may sound a bit weird, but you will see what I'm talking about. So let's discuss first the case of NAT. So we are discussing this. In this case, in my Docker host, I configure destination NAT or port forwarding on this IP of ETH0. So here I configure rules where ports like 80 or 81 are forwarded. Let's represent the forwarding with, I don't know, let's put some yellowish. So this port is forwarded to this app, and maybe this one to this other app, and so on. So this is how NAT is working. I am using the same external IP, this one with .10 here, for all my apps, and I'm configuring port forwardings for these apps. All right. So let's get to the next option, to the routing option. I will just I will copy this diagram and modify it a bit here. So now I'm not doing NAT anymore. I'm doing routing. So let's see how we go about this. This is the routing scenario, and also let's delete this and this and also this. So for routing, let's imagine that on the physical network I have my let's say my user PCs, all right? I have my PC1 and another PC2, and of course I can route traffic for this network for 10.0.0. Traffic destined to this network needs to be forwarded here to this next hop. And of course I can configure custom routes on each of these PCs. This can become a bit overwhelming, so my next option, and actually my best option, would be to use the default gateway of the segment, which of course, let's put it here, is another router. All these PCs are using a router to go to the great beyond internet and so on. And let's say this router has the IP, the first IP in the class, as in most of the cases it's that one. So all I have to do is to configure a route here on the default gateway. I will say something like 410.0.0.0/24. My next hop is the IP with .10 from the same class, so this one right here. And the traffic will be routed and forwarded by my Docker host to the container applications. All right, so now we've also seen the routing scenario. Let's make another drawing for the bridging, which might be interesting for you. Let's copy again this and place it right here. All right, let me delete all this stuff that we don't need in this scenario. Also this. All right. In the bridging scenario, you need to rethink a bit the addressing plan, because if you're doing bridging, now this physical segment, this physical broadcast domain, let's say this one here, is actually the same with the broadcast domain in here. So there is a single broadcast domain. So this router here will disappear, and my ETH0 can be part, sorry, not this color, can be actually part of my bridge here. I can do this, and now I'm using, let's say, the 10.1.0.0/24. I'm just using the addressing plan from my physical network. I don't need this anymore. All right, and I will only have one IP here on my Docker host. So the IP on ETH0 will disappear actually, and the IP will be assigned to the bridge object here. So this .10 will belong to Docker 0 interface, and the traffic will just be bridged through my Docker host, and so it will reach the applications right here. All right, so this is all the things I can do with the Docker bridge driver. I think it's enough for this lesson. I will show you in the next lessons the MAC VLAN option and the IP VLAN option, which are actually very easy to explain. And of course, I will make a couple of hands-on demonstration about how we can configure what we have discussed here. So hope you've enjoyed this discussion, and I'm waiting for you in the next one. Bye bye.